Hi there, it's Chris at Knock here. Today I wanted to take you through our new Agent Toolkit. The Agent Toolkit is a library that exposes Knock's APIs to popular AI SDKs and agent frameworks via tool calling. It comes out of the box with support for Vercel's AI SDK, LangChain, and OpenAI. In this video today, I wanted to show you a couple of common use cases for this Agent Toolkit and show you how it can be really useful to power your agent-to-user messaging within your AI agent applications. So the first example I wanted to show you is how you can expose your Knock workflows to your AI agents as tools. And what that means is you can arm your AI agents with cross-channel messaging abilities where you keep those agents on Rails via Knock. So let me show you what that means. So here in my Knock dashboard, I have a card issued workflow. And this workflow is going to send an in-app message and an email. And we've defined the templates that we want to go out to our customers within this workflow. So now what we can do is we can, inside of Knock, we can expose the data schema that this workflow requires in order to run. So what we're effectively doing there is saying that, hey, this property here, this card details URL has to be present because I'm going to use that within my template. So by doing this, we can actually then take this workflow and we can expose it back to our AI agents via tool calling. And those AI agents are going to, when they execute this workflow, they're going to know that that card details URL is required, shape the data accordingly, and then execute this workflow. And what that means is the messages that are coming out from this workflow are perfectly on brand for you and have all of the data that's required. So what that really means is you are making your agents more deterministic in the messaging that they can send to your users. And that's what I mean by keeping them on Rails. So let's go and look at some code of how this works. So here you can see I just have a very simple script where I'm instantiating the Knock toolkit. Above here, we have this mock card issue tool, which just issues a card and returns this mock. And then here in my prompt, you can see that I'm saying that when that card is issued, you want to trigger this card issued workflow and make sure that the recipient is the same user that the card was issued for. So what I can do now is actually just run this. And you can see in this prompt, I'm just telling it to run to Alan Grant. So let's go ahead and execute this script. Cool, so that's now executed, and you can see at the bottom here that the card was successfully issued to Alan Grant. Now, if I go back to my Knock dashboard, and I head back to this workflow, and I look at my logs, what we'll see here is that this workflow just ran. I can see inside of here, the card detail URL was set correctly, and the recipient was Alan Grant. And then if I look inside of here, I can actually see all of the messages that were generated for Alan as well as part of this agent run. So what we're doing here, once again, is we've got logs available. So we've got observability back into what that agent is doing and all of the messages that it's sending out to our users. Cool. So the second example I wanted to show you here is what's called human in the loop. So you might have heard this phrase being thrown around a bunch. And what human in the loop means is that your agent is doing something that requires a human input, whether that be an approval or maybe some extra information in order to proceed. Now, what you can see here in this diagram is how Knock powers this human in the loop interaction. So what we have here is a tool call that gets delegated to Knock. Knock sends your in-app or emails or wherever you want these messages to go. And then when the user clicks approve, we route that back through to Knock, and then we send that back to our AI agent application, and it can resume that tool call. So let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. So we have a little dummy app that we have here. And this is just a simple chat app. So I can say, hello, and my AI agent is going to respond here. So let me ask it to add two values together. And what we've done behind the scenes here is we've actually wrapped this tool call in requiring input. So what you saw there is I've initiated the addition. And if you look closely, this badge lit up in the top right-hand corner. And this is just a Knock notification feed, just as a simple example of how human in the loop can work. So what's neat about this example, though, is I can say, can you subtract 4 minus 3. Cool. And it can still do operations while this one is pending, right? So we're not blocking the AI agent's loop. What we're actually doing is deferring that tool call over to Knock, and then we're waiting for an approval for it to proceed. So when I come in here, and you can see I've got this notification, I'm going to just hit the approve button. So now what's going to happen is that approval goes back to Knock, goes back to my agent application, and you can see here that the tool call has now been approved and the result has flown back through to the user. So Knock handles all of the heavy lifting here. What we're actually doing under the hood is we are wrapping our code as requiring approval inside of Knock here. So if I jump over to my tools, what you can see here is that we have our tools definition, and we're saying that the add tool actually requires human input. And that human input is delegating to Knock to execute a workflow that's going to go to this admin user recipient. So now when that runs and we get that approval back, that's all coming back through an asynchronous webhook. And then what we're going to do here is actually resume the tool execution using that tool call context that we had in the first place. So all of this completely asynchronous. We are driving these human in the loop interactions, and this could be going to any channel that Knock supports. So Slack, Microsoft Teams, Discord, SMS, you name it. You can drive this wherever you would like. And the final use case I just wanted to talk to you about today is how you can use Knock and all of the tools available to actually manage your Knock resources through your agent. So the Agent Toolkit exposes a whole load of tools, everything from managing user preferences to scheduling workflows. So you have all of these messaging primitives that you can now expose back to your agents so that they can act for your users and actually engage in this kind of messaging API sphere so that they can, update user preferences, or maybe they can schedule a workflow for tomorrow that runs for your users to let them know about what's happening within your product. That is the Agent Toolkit, and that's what we're so excited about right now here at Knock. We cannot wait to see the kind of agent applications that you build. If you want to get started, you can jump in here inside of the docs here. It's an NPM package that you can install, and like I said before, we ship support for the Vercel AI SDK, LangChain, and OpenAI right out the gate. Cool. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.